everybody. Welcome back to the Semp Show, episode 3. My name is Chase. I'm with my co-host, Alex. And today we have a very special guest, the costume designer and stylist of one of the biggest movies of 2026. She's worked on a few other shorts, and she's also worked with Erin Andrews for the sports fans out there. So here today we have Blair James. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Pretty much, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to start off with, just like letting the people know like who you are. And I know you just mentioned you've been in LA for like 8 years and such. So is there anything that you wanted to just discuss, and then how you kind of ultimately like landed on Obsession?
Yeah, so when I originally moved to LA, I came out for acting and dance. And then while I was in college, I was producing a low budget musical, and we were like looking at the budget sheet, and I was like, oh, we can't afford a costume designer. And I was like, you know what? Like, fuck it. I'll just do it. Cause like, I like clothes, like whatever, like I can do it. And I did it. And then I ended up winning like a national award for those costumes. And I was
Wow.
damn, like maybe I should like look into this. And, kind of simultaneously, I was like not really like vibing with doing the acting thing. I don't really like that kind of attention. And I was like, oh, this entire job is just like receiving attention. And so I ended up kind of transitioning over, and I started off in celebrity styling, and I assisted like over 30 different stylists for like 3 years. So I freelanced, assisted, and while I was doing that, I was doing short films, like small magazines, music videos. And assisting is how I worked with Erin. I worked with her under Daniela Romero, who's like one of my mentors.
Okay, cool.
And so I worked with like a bunch of different people, a bunch of different celebrities. And then I was on a music video the summer before we shot Obsession. And it was like an overnight, and we were like in a haunted house, and it was like such a shit show of a music video, to be honest, like kind of like your worst nightmare. And like all the extras were like genuinely like fucked up on set. Like it was like such a crazy experience. And like I'm like tucked away in this little room, and the producer of Obsession, Haley Johnson, she was, I think, first ADing the set, and we were like, I don't know, I think she was the second AD. She was the second AD on the music video, and I didn't even know she was coming. And I hadn't seen her since college because we went to the same school, and we were just sitting there, and it's like 4 a.m, and she was like, "Hey, I'm like doing this project later this year. I think you'd be really good for it." And I was like, oh, okay, no, for sure. Like, that sounds awesome. And she sent me the script, and I signed my little NDA, and I read it, and it was so good. I read it twice, actually, like twice through. Like, it's like that good of a script. I don't know if you've actually gone to read it. I think they just released it
No, I
online.
didn't see it was publicly released, but that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to go through it.
Yeah, it's a good script. It's like just as good as like the film is. And
Mhm.
so I like gave her a phone call, and I was like, "Hey, the script is really freaking good. I really like it." And she was like, "Okay, but like just being transparent, like you're up against like two experienced costume designers." So I was like, oh, "Okay." And then I hung up the phone. I was like, "I'm not getting that fucking job. So I'm just gonna like move on with my day and like just like everything with a grain of salt in LA, because like you never know." And then
Yeah.
she called me like 4 hours later, like no interview, nothing. She was like, "I'm just gonna trust my gut. I think you're the person for this job." And that's literally how I booked Obsession, was like off of this woman's like gut instinct, which she has great gut instincts. So I do like owe so much to her, because like she really like got me into costume design pretty much in general. Like I had done it before for short films, but
Mhm.
Obsession was my first feature. And when I did it, I was like, oh, like this is the avenue I want to take. Like I loved it immediately.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people that like have their success story, they kind of just stumble into it somehow, like knowing someone or just being somewhere in the right time. Like that's just how it is a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A lot of people are like, "Please tell us your story." And I'm like, I don't think you guys want to fucking hear my story. Like, it's not like what you're gonna want to hear. Like, I don't have a degree in this. Like, and I think that my experience being different is what makes my work look different overall. But Yeah, it's really funny when people are like, can you please like give me advice? I was like, I was just in a haunted house at 4 a.m. on a music video I booked 48 hours before we shot it. Like it was like everything of it was so last minute and like kind of that like meant to be thing. So
Yeah,
it's really
that's
funny.
awesome.
When people ask about it, I'm like, ooh.
I mean, it worked out though.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely did.
yeah, Obsession it was really good. We saw it a couple days ago, um, like 9:30 in the morning, which was kind of crazy for a horror film. But
Yeah,
So
that's hardcore.
yeah,
so I actually going with that. So we were talking about seeing it for like the longest time. Funny enough, we had a wedding this past Friday, and then it was my birthday as well. So like we were out
Happy
celebrating
birthday.
that. Thank you. So like it was a bit hard to get to see it like instantly. So I actually sent the DM to you, saying like, hey, would you want to hop on? And we were planning on seeing it, but I wasn't expecting you to respond honestly, and then you did, and then you did. I was like, yo, Alex, we got to go see it like as soon as possible. So we booked it for 9:25 in the morning, and when I bought the tickets, there were like four other people that their tickets already. So I was kind of surprised when we walked into the theater and saw it packed at 9:30. It was cool though. It was a
yeah,
great
it was,
movie.
it
Oh
was,
my
it was
god.
packed. Yeah,
Dude, my therapist is like, he's like, I've been trying to get a ticket for a week. Like he was like, I can't see it anywhere. It's like sold out. And I'm like, that's insane.
yeah, that is crazy to think of. What was the
Crazy to watch
biggest?
a, oh, sorry.
Oh
I
no, no,
was,
that's okay. That's okay. Keep
it's
going.
crazy that you watched a horror movie in a packed theater and like at like 9 a.m. in the morning. That's hilarious.
I was
Yeah,
shocked.
honestly, I kind of like the movie in the morning though. It worked out well.
It's good.
What was the biggest, I guess, project prior to because this was on a budget of like was it 750,000 or something? It was under a
Yeah.
million, right? Because I feel like in Hollywood and stuff nowadays, like you have so many $200 million budgets and stuff with IPs and remakes and everything. Is there anything that you enjoyed? Because obviously, I think I saw one of your videos you posted where you said you have more free range and like those higher budgets to like pick costumes and stuff. But is there anything that you enjoy from a smaller budget with like the smaller details mattering more and kind of how you pick your styles and such?
Yeah, I mean, like smaller films, like as much as like the more money you get, there's more freedom, but there's also a lot more like logistics. So like
Hmm.
the two big ones I've done, I'm so sorry if you hear this rooster back there. Like,
That's
oh,
fine.
um, so like I did Obsession, which was like 750, and then the next film I did was 10 mil, which is like the most insane budget jump you can imagine. Like, especially for my job, I was like, what the fuck? Um, and but it's crazy, like, you get more money and like experiences and you do have more freedom in a different way, but you kind of lose that like it becomes more political and more studio. It feels more like a real job than it does kind of like Obsession to me. I know this sounds like really weird, but like when we were making it, it kind of felt the equivalent of like making a college short film. Like that was like the vibe is like everyone there is just passionate and we were really just passionate about making this film as like good as like we could because it was like we loved the film. It wasn't really ever in this like mindset of like, oh, this is going to be a huge major motion picture or like go to theaters. Like no one ever like talked about that. We were kind of just all there to like create. And then when I worked on the $10 million film, like it was so much more like a job. Like, like every actor had like a stand-in, a photo double, multiple stunt doubles. And
Mhm.
like while that like you do have a bigger budget, you're also like tackling more as like this rooster is so fun. Um, but like you're tackling more obstacles in that way. And like the bigger the celebrities, the bigger the brands get, which means the more money you have to spend towards it. And so like it gets a little more tricky in different avenues, but there's more freedom in some ways and then less freedom in other ways. But I do love indie films. Like I did a lot of like live shows at my college. Like after that one musical, I ended up doing like 8 shows and I really learned how to like do like cheap, like not cheap, but like really do like small budgets well. And that's like
Mhm.
a gift I got to learn. But Obsession was a rarity. It was like the best crew and like best film environment I've ever been in my life. It was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I saw like a lot of the not like behind the scenes, but people just talking about the film. It seemed like everyone like truly just enjoyed it, and like you kind of mentioned, it's not curated by like a studio. Like it was just you guys kind of just fully passionately, making a film. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I that kind of transitions us into our next topic. So, like, starting with the opening outfits, like the first time we see Bear and Nikki, what made you settle on like those two specific looks? Because I feel like right from the jump, you can kind of tell Bear is very reserved, shy, like doesn't have a lot going for him. Well, Nikki's a bit more upbeat. So, if you can just expand on that a little bit.
Like specifically like the trivia night one, like when they're first seen together.
I would even say before that. We can also talk about trivia as well, like whatever you want.
Okay, because the first time we see Bear is at the diner, and then I'll talk about Indy's like trivia look. But for Bear, this is actually like a very like good lesson and good story that I get to tell today. But his first costume, that diner scene, we shot during reshoots. So that was shot like 9 months after the original shoot. And originally the way it was shot was that shot you see at the end where it like pans down to him on the ground and pans up to the TV. The first original shot was actually the reverse of that, and it was like Bear on the couch and Sandy the cat on the ground. And so I used the same sweater that you see at the very end, his like hero sweater. I used that as his first costume originally, as like a way for the audience to like visually connect the cat to Bear and like kind of do this like full circle moment of like him getting everything he wants, but he ends up kind of in the same spot he was before. But we had to do reshoots, and we ended up adding that scene at the beginning. So then it was like, okay, well, how the fuck do I... He's not wearing that fucking sweater to the diner, because I knew like color-wise it just wouldn't make sense. And I made that first costume, the like PJ pants with the striped sweater, like really ugly on purpose. I wanted it to feel like really depressing. So I was like, you can't wear this to the diner. So how do I like do this? And so like Curry and I had to like sit and talk about like how he was going to like cut the scenes together so that I could like properly transition him out of like the very first costume to the second costume. And so the first costume, when we reshot the diners, I just wanted it to feel like very boyish and young. And I feel like it's like the youngest looking costume he has in the entire film. And so like, having that innocence, and I picked like that kind of like softer brown, because I kind of wanted Curry like loves like, I guess like you could call like the art of surprise. Like, when the waitress stands up and you realize that like this isn't like the love interest, like it's just the waitress. So like yeah. I wanted like their two costumes to feel like very like soft, pastel, romantic, so that like the audience can allow the shift into like the jewel tones and the red to be present, and allow like the audience to experience the art of surprise subconsciously through color as well.
That's interesting. I feel something that I was gonna like kind of ask, but like I guess it ties into this. Costume reveals in general, I feel like they give a lot to the character before they even like are able to speak. And is that something that you took into account? I know you said you filmed this part like later, but for like the first scene that you guys filmed, or that you actually designed, is there a bit of that you took into play, or are you just strictly looking at like a script for that kind of influence?
No, I feel like I'm always looking for the costume speaking before the person does, because like the reality of life is like if you're walking down the street and you pass someone, your first impression on that person is going to be their physical appearance, and you're going to make judgments, whether that's like positive, negative, neutral. You're going to make judgments on that physical appearance, whether it's something like you've seen someone who looks like them, or seen someone who dresses like them, or you're like guessing their economic status. Like your brain does all these things subconsciously, as kind of like it's like an animalistic thing actually, but you you create judgment immediately off of people's physical appearance. And so like, to me, costumes are second skin. Like if the costume was different, it would say a different story. And so to me, it's like, I'm very intentional behind every single choice I make. And I don't know if everyone does that. Like, I'm not someone like, I kind of just like throw on something because I think it looks cool. Like, I have to think it looks cool and it has to make sense, because to me, like, what's the purpose of like what I'm doing if I can't allow it to actually like feed into the storyline or the world? So like, definitely it's second skin. Like if you think of it like a video game, like it's like dressing your character in a video game, and giving them their skin.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. I feel like I was
I'm
going
not
to talk
a
about
gamer.
this.
Is that the correct term? The skin, right?
Yeah, no, it is. So oddly enough, I was going to mention this later, but I guess we can just talk about it now real quick. The red tiger stripe sort of top that Nikki has in that, I would say that's like the turning scene of the entire thing. So there's a clip going around of Indy wearing, or she's playing COD, Call of Duty. I don't know if you're familiar at all with it. But there's a very like popular camo, and it looks exactly like that red tiger stripe. And I saw people talking about how, oh, I wonder if that's like a nod to it. Clearly it's not, I don't think. But
no, I don't think so, but that's really funny.
okay, yeah.
There's so many people that are like, oh, did you get this reference from blank? And I'm like, no, but that's fucking hilarious. Like, there's so many things that like that. Like, someone was asking if I based Cooper's costume for the boys' night off of like Billy Madison. And then like I looked at the photo and I was like, damn, like that looks just like that. But it wasn't like that. But I think it's funny when people do that.
Yeah, it's like natural coincidences.
The house just feels old, messy, and lived in, and you can clearly tell when Bear goes to close the mirror door or window, whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't close. So like going to the production design, the environment, like everything with the bedroom scenes, and specifically when, when Nikki is standing in the corner and just like watching him sleep. One, that was terrifying. How'd you approach like the wardrobe style for that?
So that part actually is like written into the script, but it was originally written as a trench coat. And I don't know how, I think Kurt, if I can like remember correctly, like it's kind of like low-key my memories are starting to fade from it because it was like 2 years ago, but if I remember correctly, halfway through like pre-production, he was like, oh, I think I want to switch it to be one of Bear's sweaters. And I was like, oh my God, we should do the cardigan. And I ended up buying that cardigan in an extra large. So like there was the cardigan Bear wore, like that, like Michael, actually the actor, wore. And then I bought it like in an XL so that like when it was on Indy, it was like the sleeves were really long and like kind of scary and made like almost her silhouette look like extended in a way. But yeah, I can't remember if it was Curry that decided to switch it to the sweater. I think it was him. And then I kind of came in and I was like, oh, instead of it being the sweater, it should be the cardigan. Because I thought the shape and like being able to see like her skin and her like part of her chest was like more jarring to the eye than if it was like a full coverage sweater.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, remember that scene, like, the lighting was obviously severely dark. And the framing, it changed just, the entire scene. And I mean, I guess it's just like little things like that, buying like an XL, someone like, I feel like we may not think about that, but that clearly makes a big difference. And two, one, portraying Nikki and also just advancing the story, because that was relatively early on in the movie, I want to say. Maybe like 30, 45 minutes in, if I remember correctly. But that's a very, very cool detail. And then something I thought was pretty funny. So Bear doesn't like the taste of alcohol. So that's why he ordered the pina colada. So like, did something like that small detail, did that kind of go into his outfit for the bar scene, or?
Well, so like for his bar scene outfit, because like the costume right before that is like the striped sweater and PJ pant. And I really wanted the contrast and like what he was wearing behind closed doors versus the contrast of like what he's wearing to go out to see like the girl that he views as like the love of his life. And so I wanted it to feel like really like dressed up in that way. Transparently, like, and this might sound very crass saying it, but I like kind of always had this like phrase in my head, which was like, piss baby boy, like that energy. And I know that sounds like that's so like immature of me to say about my career, but like that was the energy was like, like Curry and I had a lot of conversations about his wardrobe being like too cool or anything. And I was like, no, like, trust me, like that contrast of like, all of his sweaters are oversized. So like everything that you see Michael wears, like you can kind of tell it like drapes down on him. And I did that to like weigh the body down because I kept like reassuring Curry. I was like, when he slunches his shoulders in these bigger sweaters, it will allow this like dweeby, insecure personality type physically to like show through. And so it really wasn't much of like, it was more of allowing the silhouette to speak versus the actual pieces. And that to me was like more important at the end of the day, was also giving the gift to Michael of like everything being oversized. Cause like, I mean, Michael's like very fit. Like he works out like a lot. Like, I mean, the guy had like a 6-pack on set. So I was like, well, now I need to like kind of make this more believable that like this girl wouldn't like him physically. So like, I kind of did that by like making everything big and draped on him. So that like also allowed him to feel that physically when acting.
Oh, okay.
This is kind of funny. After the movie, obviously, you know, TikTok was just filled with obsession. And I was looking at someone like the press tours and whatnot. And every post I look at the comments, and some of the comments were like, wait, he's actually hot? Why is he so built? Like, you know, stuff like that. You know, I mean, like, you know, yeah, so what you did worked. You know, those baggy clothing, it works. So, I mean, kudos to you.
Well, that's good to hear because, like, in the beginning, he was like, this is big. And I was like, please trust me. Like, please trust me. Like, I was like, you're very attractive. We need to, like, to help the storyline with this. But no, I mean, he's beautiful as a person. So, like, it was definitely like, I felt like the clothes had to help a lot with allowing that, like, I guess like dweebiness is like the right word. To like come forward, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that was like one of the first things I noticed. Just like, I mean, he's in like a sweater or a sweatshirt. I feel like most of the movie, I guess. And that's basically what you said. Okay. Yeah.
That's like his vibe. That was like definitely something Curry really wanted, was like Bear wears sweaters, like vintage. Okay. Because like the house is vintage because it's his grandmother's house. So like that's why in the bedroom you see there's like a woman's vanity and like the elliptical and stuff like that. So like those little like tidbits were like to kind of show that like that was his grandparents' house. And so like a lot of the sweaters I chose were with like the thought or concept of like this is his grandfather's or something that was handed down to him.
Got it. How much I guess like influence do you take from the actual, I guess, from Curry the director, but also just like the script versus what you just want to kind of like, do you read the script and then kind of decide what you want to do, or do you kind of get, I know you mentioned he put a couple like comments on there, but is there like how you decide exactly what to do? Just conversations and stuff?
Yeah, it just like, well, for the script, it just depends on the script. Like sometimes, like the movie I did recently, there were probably like 45 costume notes in it. And then you'll read other scripts and there'll be like 1 or 2.
Do you prefer less?
I do prefer less because especially when the position's like the person's the director and the writer, sometimes people get really fixated on an idea and they won't be like open to other ideas. But with Obsession, there really wasn't a lot of costume notes. Like, I think the most specific thing written was like Sarah wears a purple flower dress to boys' night, and then like Nikki wears that dress later. And which was really nice about that is like Curry was like a phenomenal director to work with. Like I tell people all the time, like I was so spoiled getting to work with him so early in my career because he has the gift of specificity, but he also like is open to collaboration and open to like he's open to like letting you soar through the process. So like I met with Curry, which like was funny because like I kind of told you like I didn't interview for this job. So I like when I met him, I was like, hey, like I'm your costume designer. Like here's my pitch. And so like I pitched to him and like I got very lucky. Like Curry and I are very similar in taste, which is like I think why Haley had the gut instinct is like Curry's and I's tastes are just very naturally aligned. Like we want to see the same thing on screen physically. And so like he was very specific, but he was also open. So like even with the purple flower dress, like it being one of the only specific notes written, he was like, if it's not that, like it's okay. And I was like, well, no, like now that you wrote it, like I'm gonna do it because like you didn't write anything else. And like, this is so hyper specific. So like, I'm going to like try my best to like make that happen. But he was really great, like collaboration wise, like, the Castle Music shirt is, something that like he originally wanted. Have you seen the movie? I kept calling it Blockbuster, but it's called I Love Movies. Have you guys seen that movie?
I have not, no.
I Love Movies? I don't think so.
It's like, I've never heard of it before, but he had sent me the like poster of it. And in the movie, the workers at this like Blockbuster store wear these like huge oversized vintage
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So those uniforms, Curry was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do exactly this. And I was like, okay, like I see the vibe you're doing here, but like, I think there's actually something better. And I kind of like told him I was like, we need to make a Halloween costume. Like we need to make something so specific to this film that people identified that uniform to Obsession. And so I kind of like took the vibe and then just like kind of made my own rendition of it, which is just funny because like transparently, I was just really into mechanic patches at the time. And I was like, wait, this would be so cool if like it was this shirt with a mechanic patch. So like, it kind of happened like that. But like, what's nice is like, again, he's specific, but like, if you open the floor to being like, I'm not like a yes ma'am when like it comes to costumes. I'm always like, well, is there something better? Like, is there something we're not pushing towards? Because if I said yes to everything, like, why would you hire me? You know, like,
Right.
You're hiring me for my taste and my expertise. So I'm going to give you my taste and expertise. So, and like, he was specific, but like, he allowed me to like, open the floor and be like, oh, there's something better than just copying what someone else already pitched, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's like a dream collab situation then, because if you can't throw your personal, flair to it, then, what's the point of
like you said, there's
it?
no point of being there.
Yeah, no. He's a really like, he's definitely like the best. He's my favorite director I've ever worked with. And like, I work with him as a stylist as well. And it's like really fun to like work with him in both like kind of industries and jobs. Cause again, we just have very similar tastes. So it's like really fun. Cause I'll just like after like 2 weeks of getting to know him through Obsession, like I would see something and I was like, oh, I know he's going to like it. Cause I fucking like it. And so it's a nice feeling to like, have that. Cause like it is rare. And like the more I've worked with other people, the more I see like how rare that actually is.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are going to see a lot of Halloween costumes around just the characters in general this year.
Yeah, so many, I'm sure. I'm sure people are going to be carrying around One Wish Willows with them.
Yeah. My DMs are literally just like, where's this from? Where's this from? And I'm like, guys, I cannot. There's like probably 500 of those DMs of being like, can you tell me where you got blank? And it's like, I just can't, like, much love to everyone. I just cannot respond to all those. Like, I don't even know if these items exist anymore online, to be honest. So I'm like, if you find it, you find it. But
right. I'm sure people will get creative and find their own stuff for it.
The Castle Music shirt, though, you cannot buy that ever again. I I found that shirt was $7 a shirt, and there were probably like 40 left in stock, and it was final sale, and I just bought it out essentially.
Oh wow.
Like I was like, well, like we're gonna need them, and I ended up giving like all the remaining pieces that we didn't use. I gave like most of them to like the crew and HODs, and then I had to give the rest of them to Focus after, so that they can like archive them.
Oh, cool.
So one of my favorite moments is that when they start dating, it's when they're at dinner, and this was something I actually picked up instantly. I saw Nikki was wearing a bean necklace. Now, was that one of the notes that Curry gave you, or was that your input?
That was completely my choice. I actually at the time, like the guy I was seeing at the time, I had that exact gold necklace like in his initial, and I was like, oh, like I'm like my inspiration like always comes from like my life or like what I'm seeing around me, and so like I was like, oh, like this is what girlfriends do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh, like this like totally makes sense that he would buy her this necklace, and so. Yeah, that's kind of how I made that choice. And people love it. I was so shocked to see how many people really noticed that necklace. But with Taylor's lighting, the cool thing is like all my necklaces are very symbolic, especially on Indy or Nikki's character. And the way Taylor lights it, it like makes all the necklaces like kind of glow, which is like really cool to like have my symbolism like kind of glow in scenes. Like there's like one shot at the dinner scene where like the bee necklace like literally like glows on her chest, and it's so cool.
I think I looked over at you, Alex, and you know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he like kind of gets out of his chair and he starts snapping at the screen.
Yeah,
he's like, oh my god, look at that.
Yeah, it'll be fun to rewatch after, especially after talking to you about this stuff, because like we'll catch so many new things. The one thing I didn't catch, but I think people had mentioned it, I don't know if you had talked about it, the difference in like gold versus silver jewelry, talking about that necklace. I didn't catch that at all, but that was a really cool touch too.
Thank you. I haven't actually said this online either, but I do it with Sarah as well, because she wears gold the whole time. But if you notice in the party scene, she wears silver. So I like kind of do a call to her as well for that. And that was just me being silly. You know, it's actually funny. Like Curry DM'd me today and he was like, bro, I didn't even know you were doing this. And I was like, yeah, because I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. Like, that's what's so crazy about these interviews and talking about it is I'm like, half of these choices I made was just like for my own like hee ha ha subconscious fun. Like I never thought I would have to like explain to people these choices. So it's like so funny. Like when he DM'd me that, I was like, this is hilarious that like he literally was like, I didn't even know you were doing this like on the side. And I was like, yeah, I was like playing my own mind games over here.
That's the one like cool thing I guess about just fandom and like online in general nowadays is how people either catch things or they kind of connect, they make their own assumptions about stuff like that. So yeah, that was really cool to see.
Thank you. It was so fun. I think it's really funny that he was like, I did not know that you were doing this.
Did you do a lot of the like practical blood work and stuff like that, or no?
So this was my first horror movie, and like all credit to Ali Shehorn, who was like the head of makeup and special effects, because I was very green when it came to like blood on costumes. And it was like probably my hardest lesson I had to learn was like, I did not know that like going into it, like I kind of was not aware that I was in charge of the blood on the costumes. And so like our biggest blood day, like that's when I learned it, which is like, I feel like I'm so embarrassed even saying that, but like it was the truth of the matter. Like I was so green, and like she like really helped me with like, she would help and like step up and do the blood for me sometimes, like, and that kind of stuff. And like, which was really helpful. Like it was very like team effort, which was great. Blood on clothes is so hard. Like I just never thought, I'm not like a painter. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like painting, and like blood.
Are you just throwing the fake blood onto the like a sweatshirt or whatever it is? Like,
so
can you walk us through that?
So the hardest part about the blood in this movie is we shot so insanely out of order. So on Bear's sweater, like most of the blood exists like here on like the hoodie final look. And we shot the final scene for that on like the beginning of week 2. We did not shoot the actual like blood gag that we use in the film of like Sarah's head getting smashed into the steering wheel, which is like where the blood would have like been placed. Like if we flip-flop that, like you can imagine I would be able to recreate that because it's already set. But like I had to preset the blood on the costume before we even shot the like my God, so many noises. I'm sorry. We had to preset the blood before we even did the like the squib, like the blood shooting out gag. So like that was like so hard for me to like even understand because I've like never even seen. I had to like imagine and like talk to Ali about like what that stunt would be like or where the blood would most likely land on him because like that's something that she's very like expertise in and like she had practiced these stunts and like I had videos of her practicing it, but like you can't really predict where liquid is gonna fucking fly. Like it's so
Yeah.
it's so hard. Like I was like that was the hardest part for me. I felt like that day I was like I'm a child. Like I don't know shit. Like I was like this is so hard, but
Like the head figure part of that scene, was that your full design or did someone else do that and then you just do the actual just blood costume part of it?
so when it's like live blood, like when you're seeing the like blood being splattered onto Bear, like
Yeah.
that's all special effects. But like
Okay.
if like when we were shooting the stuff at the house, like the very end scene stuff, like when we were like kind of what I was saying, like when we were like predicting that, like I had to kind of talk to her about how that would go so that I could like predict the blood on the costume the best I could. Um, so yeah, it's like that's like completely her department, but like it's also my department if it's on the clothes. And like there's always huge overlaps between like makeup, props, production design, and wardrobe. Like there's like the vomit scene, the production team made the vomit. And then like
Okay.
we like they helped me apply it on her body. So like it was very like team effort kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of talking, a lot of communication. It's a lot of like figuring it out all together.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, because I was thinking while watching that scene, I was like, must have been pretty tough to do. But yeah, that makes sense that you have like three, four departments kind of working on all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't, I guess, costume design related, but just my theater experience. I had a feeling that there was going to be a jump scare coming, but obviously, I guess you're not expecting it to come. And when it did happen, I actually jumped out of my seat and like turned over. It's one of the only times I've been scared to shit like that in like the last 5 years.
The brick scene, right? Like the head.
Yeah, the brick.
Okay.
Yeah, that got me
I
too.
thought she jumped through the window. I didn't know there was a brick at first.
Yeah. Um, it's so funny because I don't find this movie to be scary at all, but I watched it be filmed. So like I wish I could watch it blind. Like I've like maybe when I'm like older and have dementia or something, I can watch it again and like get shocked by it. But that's so funny. Yeah, he does a really good job in that scene because like most people I talk to, they're like, oh, like you think they're gonna like be kissing in like 5 seconds and then like her head smashes through the window.
Well, who was your favorite character to design? I know you kind of mentioned, like Nikki's bead necklace, the baggy clothes for Bear, or one of them your favorite characters to design, or is it like someone like Sarah?
Um, so I actually like, sometimes in a script I'm like, there's like an obvious character, but I really loved like all the main 4 characters a lot. Like I like I know that sounds like such a shitty answer, but I really loved them a lot because they were all so different and that allowed me to like explore different parts of my taste. But Sarah's costumes do hold it's such a tie between Sarah and Nikki because like Nikki is like what's special about Nikki is like it's really a huge collaboration between me and Indy, and it's like our two tastes coming together. And then Sarah is like literally like my just like natural taste. Like it's like kind of like what I just naturally gravitate towards designing wise. I definitely do like an eccentric best friend better than I do a girl next door. Like it's more, not that I do it better, it's just more natural to me to do the eccentric person versus like doing the girl next door. But I like Nikki's first costume is is kind of like my pride and joy for sure.
Was that what was it?
The
jean?
jacket, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we do like kind of like a speed round thing at the end of these. All right, so it'll be like 6 or 7 questions, maybe kind of quick. You can answer them however you want, whether it be shorter or a little bit longer, but just kind of have to go through it. Are you familiar with Letterboxd by any chance?
Yes, am I?
Okay. Do you have a top 4 that you can name? Just movies in general. No.
Oh, movies in general. I can name movies in general.
Some of your favorites.
So
basically, like if you were on a deserted island, which 4 movies would you take?
oh, okay, fuck. This one's so embarrassing, but like my childhood like guilty pleasure movie, like the one that like will always make me feel better is like Ever After, A Cinderella Story, and it's with Drew Barrymore, and it's like an accurate, like historically accurate depiction of Cinderella, and I like love it so much. It's sickening. I love it. But it'd be that one, probably Aaron Brockovich with Julia Roberts. I just love that movie. Gosh. I would probably take the Disney not Disney. I'd probably take Zootopia, the first one specifically. I love
I haven't
that.
seen the second yet.
And then I'd probably take Monsters University. It's like my other one.
Yes, I'm on the train that Monsters University is better than Monsters Inc.
It's one of the best cartoon films of like all time. The color in it is like I feel like I'm getting hypnotized. It's so good. And the story's better than the first one. It's so much better. I'm with you on that.
All right. So in general, do you prefer neutral tones or bold colors?
Oh. Like a year ago I would have said bold colors, but recently I'm really into like neutral palettes and like the hues that you can play in a neutral palette. So as of right now, neutral, but maybe in a year I'll be back to bold.
Okay. I feel like lighting also affects that too, at least from a filmmaking aspect.
Yeah.
Favorite texture or material to work with when designing? If you had to pick one.
Like a ribbed Henley for sure. Like Bear's like dinner sweater. Like I love anything ribbed. It's so good.
Okay. So rom-com or horror genre? You can answer this from a watching perspective or working.
Honestly, I like when it's a bit of both. Like I like an obsession. Like I like movies like that as well, where it's like a mixture of like scary and like rom-com, because that's like real life to me at that point.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What's one fashion trend that you never want to see return?
The gladiator sandals that are like go up to the knees. I think we can just literally put those away and never come back. Also, I'm so sorry to everyone, Crocs. I just think we just need to stop. We just need to stop pretending that these are good looking shoes. They look so stupid. I've seen every variation of them. It's just never going to work for me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Crocs. Like,
proud to say I've never owned a pair.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you. All right, last 2 here. What's one detail viewers probably missed from Obsession?
It's missed because there's no shot that shows it, but Ian's hat at Boys Night says "Put it on my girlfriend's tab."
All right, and then last one here. Dream project or actor that you would like to work with?
I'd really love to do like a coming of age film, kind of like Lady Bird. That's like my dream, where like all the characters are very eccentric, but it's like a slice of life kind of thing.
Nice. Cool. That is the speed round completed. Nice job.
Then I guess we just have one final question. So, have you seen Weapons by any chance?
I have.
So they're creating like a spin-off project. I'm not sure if you heard about the Ant. I think Ant
Oh
Gladys,
yeah,
that's her name.
yeah.
Yeah, so do you think Obsession can kind of become its own universe with some spin-offs, maybe like go into a new group of friends and what happens with their One Wish Willow or whatnot?
Yeah, I know Curry's like said I watched a lot of his like press interviews and like people have asked us a lot. So I know he said like in the past he was like I would never reuse these characters, but I think he was like saying he'd love to do like an episodic series of it where it's like the same rules apply to the world, but it's like different stories and like different
Ah,
outcomes of different wishes, which is like really cool, I think. And I think he was like talking about even having like him and Taylor the DP do like one of those episodes and then letting like other creators do the other ones. So it's kind of like different taste and takes on the same world essentially.
That would be cool. Like the way I kind of think of it is almost like a Black Mirror universe. Like you
Yes,
kind of do
exactly.
something
Yeah.
like that. Like that would be very interesting. I would definitely tune into that if it ever came out.
Yeah, because it's a cool concept. Like someone said to me the other day, they were like, "Oh, do you think the One Wish Willow is evil?" And I was like, "No, because if Bear had worded the wish even like a little differently with different words, it would be a different outcome." And that's like the crazy thing is like your words are taken legitimate upon the wish, so there's like so much room to play within that
yeah, those would be cool, like 30, 45 minute kind of just concise episodes of that. Yeah,
for sure.
interesting.
I think that's everything we have today, unless there's anything else for you to add in, Alex.
No, honestly, just thanks for coming on and chatting. It was cool because I feel like we haven't really done this just to get like a full like look into like how you thought about it and just some of the costumes and stuff. I feel like now going forward, and especially on a rewatch, like just being able to like look into what they're wearing and stuff is just so much more like I don't know the exact word to describe it as, but just like interesting in general. Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's really nice to see people like appreciating it. I just recently like worked with an actor who told me he said costumes have no symbolic value. You can put this in there. I worked with an actor who said that costumes have no symbolic value, and it's like so false. And it's so, I think costumes are like costumes and hair and makeup and like special effects are just so overlooked sometimes. But I'm like, it literally is like 30% of creating the world. Like the DP, the production designer, and then like the costume and hair and makeup, like we create the aesthetic of the world. And it's such a huge part of it. And it's like, of course it has symbolic value. It's so crazy for someone to even say that out loud. I was like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah,
Like a slap in the face to you.
yeah, no, definitely. I'm just like, how do you think that way though?
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that person couldn't be any more wrong, honestly. Yeah, I mean, any single movie or TV show you watch, like the costumes has such a huge part, like to the character. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Um, I mean, I guess just think about La La Land right now, like the certain colors they use in the movie. Like that obviously has such a huge impact on like the actual scene, and then it obviously affects the rest of the story. So like something like that, I just can't imagine someone saying it doesn't matter. But
But
to each their own, I guess.
it's ignorance at its finest, but it's okay.
Yeah. But no, I want to say again, thank you so much for joining.
Of course,
Both
thank you
Alex and
guys.
I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, we can't wait to see some of your work in the future, and hoping Obsession can continue riding this hype train for as long as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like it's being dragged. Not that way, but it's like I'm like every time I open my phone, I'm like, oh my God, there's like more out there. Like there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah. That's awesome though. Congrats to you and obviously everyone else who worked on it as well.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no problem. All right.